Welcome to TWT Talks with Tito. This is Tito Madrano back for another episode, back in your live. So today is a busy day of this episode. We're going to talk about All In, AEW All In, post All In AEW, post WWE Saturday Night Live main event. We're also going to talk about WWE Evolution. And I watched NXT Great American Bash. I only watched like a few matches. I'm not going to lie. So I'm not going to really get too much into that. Well, I'm not really going to talk about that, but I did watch some of it. I didn't watch the whole show. So I won't be talking about that, but I will be talking about the other events. And yeah, so let's dive right into it because, you know, it's a lot to dive in. So let's dive right into it. Let's talk about AEW All In live in Dallas, Texas. I think this is the first time they do All In outside of, you know, Hoffman Estates, Chicago, and England. They've been doing it in the Wembley Stadium the last 2 years. Now they're doing it in Texas, Dallas, Texas. They are doing All Out in I think it's Toronto, Canada. Yeah, Toronto, Canada. They're going to do it in Toronto, Canada. So that's the first time they don't do it in Hoffman Estates. For those that don't know, yes, it's in Hoffman, not in Chicago. Well, sometimes it was in Chicago, but mostly in Hoffman. So, the now arena, by the way. So, yeah, so now they're going to do it in Toronto. But, yeah, so let's talk about this event, because this event was really good. It was really good. But let's kick off with, what was the first match? I'm trying to think what would still... All right. So, the first match, it was the Opes for the AEW Trios Champion. You know, Samoa Joe, Hobbs, Saraba versus, you know, Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Cade Kid. I'm not going to get too much into this match. I'll just get to the ending. The Ops, they retain the belts, the trio belts. But Claudio Castagnoli did pretty much took out Samoa Joe, put, you know, the chair over his neck and just boom, smashed it. So, yeah, there's the trio champions. You know, the Opes are still trio champions. And we're going to talk a lot about Claudio Castagnoli, the Death Riders, and Wheeler Yuta and Gabe Kids in the main event. Because, yeah, we're going to talk a lot about them, the Death Riders, because the main event's going to be epic to talk about in a bit. But, yeah, that match, like I said, I just got to the end. Let's get to the other matches. Before we get into the other match, this was for the TNT Championship. This is the vacate TNT Championship. Daniel Garcia, Dustin Rhodes, Kyle Fletcher, Sammy Guevara. Before we get into all that, Adam Cole had to relinquish the belt due to health issues. This sucks. It sucks because Adam Cole was going through some issues with his ankle where almost cost him his career, and I think he has like a metal in his ankle where he's been wrestling for the last 2 years of his career. So now this happened. He's going through health issues. He said that he's hoping that it's not retirement, doesn't lead to retirement. But this really sucks because Adam Cole, I've been saying it for a long time. Adam Cole is arguably one of the best professional wrestlers. He's been a world champion in every promotion that he's been in, Ring of Honor, NXT. You know, he won a couple of belts in New Japan. The fact that he won't be able to wrestle, and I hope doesn't lead to retirement, it really sucks. It really sucks for Adam Cole because that man, I met him personally, arguably one of the nicest guys you could possibly meet. If you haven't met Adam Cole, I'm telling you right now, it's worth it because he'll talk to you like if you were his friend of years. And it's crazy the way he talked to me. I mean, he talked to me about the injury. I didn't even ask him about the injury. I just told him like, man, it's great to see you. And, you know, he just talked to me like if I was a friend of his of years. The guy is such a nice guy. And he doesn't have to, but he is. And now he's going through this. It sucks. So, you know, seeing him emotional, it really sucks to see that because Adam Cole, man, it's just like I really wanted to see Adam Cole eventually be the AEW World Champion. And if not, eventually go back to WWE and accomplish big things there. But right now, this whole health issue is a pause in his career right now. And it sucks. It sucks for him. We saw his good friends, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly. You know, those guys go way back from Ring of Honor and in the NXT days. They were there to support. We saw a little, like, you know, when Daniel Garcia came out, he shook his hand. They're over here breaking kayfabe because being injured in professional wrestling and knowing that it could cost you your career, it's a big thing. It's a big deal, and yeah. But let's get to the match. Yeah. So this was the Fatal 4-Way match for the vacate TNT Championship. Solid match. All four of these guys put a good performance. The ending really shocked me. I thought they were going to give it to Kyle Fletcher, and Kyle Fletcher's getting a lot of heat for the Adam Cole being injured because there was a spot where he dropped Adam Cole and Adam Cole landed in his neck. A lot of people let's not. And here's the thing though, accidents do happen in professional wrestling. They really do sometimes, and it happens when it's two performers performing. But it sucks that Kyle Fletcher's being, because I see things in the internet that they're accusing him of this, and it's not his fault. We know Adam Cole has been dealing with a lot of injuries in the past, and this has to do with health, so it's something bigger than injury. So I don't wanna sit here and say that it's Kyle Fletcher's fault because it's not. Accidents do happen, unfortunately, in professional wrestling. And we can't sit here and blame Kyle Fletcher, because it could have been someone else. It could have been another big name. You guys would have been like, oh, it would have been an accident. Oh, but since it's Kyle Fletcher, obviously Kyle Fletcher is a big name. Not as big as the bigger names in wrestling, but let's not go that route. Let's not. But let's announce the winner. I thought Kyle Fletcher was going to win this belt. I thought Kyle Fletcher was going to be the TNT champion, but no. The new TNT champion. And it's been since 1999 since he was Goldust and he was the IC champion that he finally won a singles belt, a mid-card belt. Dustin Rhodes is the new TNT championship. You know what? The guy is 56 years of age. It's just a crime that it took this long because Dustin Rhodes is arguably one, when it comes to pro wrestler, the guy, he should have got a moment like this a long time ago while he was in WWE, but WWE, he was Goldust, and they never took him serious, which sucks. But now, at the age of 56, it's good to see him have that moment. We saw how emotional he got winning that belt. Yeah, congrats to him, beating Daniel Garcia, Kyle Fletcher, and Sammy Guevara. And we'll see where it goes from there for him. All right, moving on to the next match. The Garland Casino match. I'm not really going to get too much into this. I'm just going to go right to it, get to the end. MJF won the Casino Royale match. So he has the opportunity to get his, how he calls it, his Triple B. So MJF won the Garland match for men's. And MJF winning that match, gets him closer to the Triple B, as he calls it, the AEW World Title. And now that he has to hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP, the faction is strong. So, yeah, it's good to see that. And, yeah, like I said, I'm not going to get into too much of. There's some matches that I'm not going to get into it, and I'm sorry. It took me 3 days to watch All In, and I was dozing. So it took me 3 days to watch this 6-hour show. So there's a couple of matches that I apologize to the AEW faithfuls, but there's some matches that I'm going to talk about them briefly, and that's it. I'm going to move on to the ones that really caught my attention. All right, moving on to the next match. You know what? Let's get this match out of the way. The women's Garland match. Athena won. The Ring of Honor World Champion Athena. The women's Ring of Honor World Champion Athena won. For those that don't know who Athena was, she was known as Amber Moon in WWE. Now she's Athena in AEW and, in the indies. Athena will face, we're going to talk about this other match that, will get a shot at the AEW Women's Championship. So it's good to see Athena. She's been I didn't even know this because, I don't keep up with Ring of Honor, but even though, they're the same, they're under the AEW umbrella. She's been the longest reigning AEW Ring of Honor Women's Champion, so it was great to see her do great things in Ring of Honor and the Indies. So Athena is going to get her shot against the AEW Women's Championship match. She has a guaranteed Women's Championship match, just like MJF has a guaranteed AEW Championship match. All right, moving on to. All right, this is where it gets better. So. Let's move on to the tag team match. Will Ospreay teaming up with Swerve Strickland versus the EVPs, the Young Bucks. So the winner, if the EVPs won, Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay were not allowed to compete for an AEW World title for a year. But if Ospreay and Strickland won, the Young Bucks have to give up the position. They have to give up the title of being MVPs. So this match right here, amazing. It's crazy to see that Swerve Strickland, Will Ospreay being individual singles competitors, having a great, fantastic tag team match against one of the best tag teams to ever do it, the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson. This match was just great. The spots were great. The timing of these matches are great. These four individuals should give each other a round of applause because honestly, I always say this. When you have a match with the Young Bucks, you elevate yourself. And I feel like this match was probably as good or maybe even better when the Young Bucks faced Kenny Omega and Hangman Page at Revolution back in 2020. So this match was just amazing. The Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland won this match, but man, the Young Bucks did a fantastic job putting them over like rock stars. And obviously the Young Bucks are no longer EVPs of the AEW. So where the storyline shifts from there, you'll see because these four guys are also involved in the main event, which we're going to talk about. And I can't wait. I'm excited to talk about the main event. But yeah. So the Strickland, Will Ospreay, they won this match. Will they continue being tag team partners? Probably not, but this was a good match. And this was like a bucket list match for both of these guys. All right, I can go on and on about this match, but this match was the wake-up match right here. All right, moving on to the next match. The Patriotti versus the Hurt Syndigan versus the Jet Speed. This is for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Again, this is another match that I'm just going to get right to the end. So the Hurt Business won. Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin continue to be AEW Tag Team Champions alongside with their buddies MJF and MVP. Let's talk about the ending of this match because FTR was on commentary with their manager. I forget his name, man. I feel like guilty now that I forgot his name. So we see that Chris Wayne, Mama Wayne, and Kid Sabian, FTR is right there. You know, they're ready to just confront them. Chris Wayne attacks Christian Cage. And we just like, whoa, we didn't see that coming. We thought, if anything, we didn't see Christian Cage was the guy operating the ship. We didn't think that he was going to get backstabbed by his colleagues. And that's exactly what happened. And, as soon as, FTR helps them out too, to attack, we see that they're attacking Christian Cage. And then someone's music hits. You think you know me. You guys know who that is. Adam Copeland comes out. And he comes out with the spike. Everybody gets out the ring. And, Adam Copeland was taken out of action by FTR. So, he wants his revenge. And he kind of gets his little revenge. Not kind of, but sort of at AEW Dynamite, which I haven't seen, but yeah. So, we see that Christian Cage and Adam Copeland are like right there facing each other. And then Christian Cage picks him up. And he tells him, Christian, go find yourself. So this is going to lead up to Christian Cage, Adam Copeland teaming up like they were back in the days, Edge and Christian, versus FTR at All Out in Toronto, Canada. Because we know that Christian and Adam are from Toronto. So it's only right that they team these two guys up and have one last ride. So, yeah. So yeah, to me that's the most important thing about this match. I wasn't really too invested in this match, so I just really wanted to just talk about it. I want to talk about that last part, but I am invested in the last three matches. Which one was first? Let's go with the AEW Women's World Championship match. The champion, timeless Toni Storm versus the TBS Women's Champion, Mercedes Moné. I said it. I've been waiting for this match for the longest. And I'll tell you this right now. The wait was totally worth it. Because both of these girls deliver arguably one of the best matches they can possibly have. And I'll say this before, and I'll say it again. These two girls are the best female wrestlers outside of WWE, and they started their career in WWE first. So that tells you how great these women are. That women's wrestling right now is red hot. Red hot. And Toni Storm, Mercedes Moné, amazing match. Amazing spots. The times where Mercedes will kick out, the times where Toni will kick out. I'm just like, whoa, this match was just amazing. There's one thing I do want to say. Toni Storm is so good at staying in character and wrestling at the same time. It's so hard to do that, and she has mastered it like nothing. Toni Storm is just timeless perfection, I would say, because she is just amazing performer, amazing pro wrestler, and the character work that she has developed on this character, Timeless, is just great. And the match that she had with Mercedes is just magic. I want to see a part 2 because Mercedes also, like I said it. I've been saying this for a lot of my episodes. I've been praising Mercedes how great she is. And this match right here, amazing. Amazing. I mean, Toni Storm retained the belt. And regardless if Toni would have lost or if Mercedes would have won or lost too, or vice versa, Toni winning or losing, I would have been happy with the result because this match was so good. I wouldn't care if whoever would have won. I would have been happy. And Toni winning I think it was the right decision. But at the same time, they would have gone the other route. I would have been fine with it too. But yeah, great match. Let's talk about another great match. Winner takes all. AEW Unified Championship. Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker, versus Kenny Omega, the Continental Champion, versus the International Champion to unify the belt. We know, if you are a New Japan fan, if you are a fan of Kenny Omega or Okada, you know that these guys, when it comes to facing each other, you're going to get the best of the best. Both of these guys are just, they're the reasons why I started watching New Japan. The matches that they had in New Japan were amazing. They were like an hour long. That's how good this match was. Okada, when he got signed with AEW, it was just a no-brainer that he was going to have another big 5-star, 6-star, 7-star match with Kenny Omega. It was a no-brainer that these guys were going to have a great match. They did say that, the 3 last championship match where all 3 of them were main events. They felt like a main event. Absolutely. They were not the official main event though, but this match between Kenny and Okada and the match between Toni and Mercedes could have easily been the main event for All In in Texas. Could have easily been main event. And I'm not discrediting the last match because we're gonna get to that in a bit. But this match right here, just absolutely amazing. Amazing. These guys have not lost a beat. They know each other very well. We know coming into this match, this was the 5th time they faced each other. Kenny Omega had the record of 2-1-1. Had 2 wins, 1 loss to Okada, and 1 draw. So, obviously, they were not facing each other for the biggest prize, which is the IWPG New Japan World title, but they were facing each other to unify 2 of the mid-card belts of AEW. And, obviously, with some distraction of Don Callis, Don Callis always sticking his nose where it doesn't belong because, he likes to recruit talent. Has done a great job, by the way. We know that Kenny Omega, great match. The fact that Kenny Omega also came back from injury, the injury that he had that almost cost him his career, but still put up a great banger match with Okada. Okada, obviously, arguably the best wrestler in the world, the Rainmaker. Yeah, this match was great. Okada wins the unified belt. And yeah, Okada, Omega. Are we going to see these guys face each other? They are 2-2-1. So it's just a matter of time to break that tiebreaker. So anything can happen. All right, let's get to the main event of All In. The champion, the AEW World Champion, that the title has been in the briefcase for quite the longest, has been having that belt for 273 days. Jon Moxley versus former AEW World Champion Adam Hangman Page. This match was a Texas death match. Brutal, hardcore, bloody. If you think this match was arguably just bloody, there was forks, there was glass bottles, there was tables, chairs, anything that you can think of, ropes. Man, this match was just brutal, bloody, good. If you like violence and professional wrestling, this match felt like an ECW match. I'm surprised people were not cheering ECW in the audience. It was just bloody. Hangman, stabbing Jon Moxley with the fork on his forehead. Jon Moxley, slamming Hangman on the, on glass and just doing this. Oh man, these guys were just, man, the fact that, we know that Jon Moxley's a crazy lunatic. Pain is like his friend. Blood is like his friend. He doesn't care. He's willing to go out there, put up a show, and he does it all the time. But man, this match was just too damn good, too damn violent. And I go on the record and say this was Hangman Adams Page best match. Obviously, there was interference. The Death Riders, which we did talk about earlier, that Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Cade Gibbs, Mariah Saphir were there. But, Hangman had, we know that Will Ospreay showed up, even though he got taken out by Claudio Castagnoli. The scenarios of this match, it kind of felt like WrestleMania 40, the main event with Cody and Roman. It kind of felt that way too, because a lot of surprises showed up. They take out Will Ospreay, and then Darby Allin comes back. He comes all the way down the ropes, like the way that Sting used to show up. He came back. He helped a little bit. So yeah, I mean, am I missing someone? I feel like I am missing someone. There's a couple of more people that showed up. Also, when, Bryan Danielson came back, we saw the Yes movement. Yes, he got taken out by the Death Riders. So, he got his little revenge. I think he helped Darby Allin take them out too. But as soon as you notice that the Death Riders are gone, the Young Bucks interfere and they attack Hangman Page. But we know that Mariah Saphir is trying to get she's trying to get the table. She got tied up by Prince Nana. Prince Nana shows up with Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland goes out there and takes out the Young Bucks. And, Swerve gets, not the rope, but the little chain, gives it to Hangman Page. Hangman Page ties it up under Jon Moxley's neck, puts him over the ropes. Jon Moxley's suffocating, and then he ends up tapping, because the only way you can win this match is by knockout or submission. Jon Moxley taps out. Hangman Page is now the AEW World Champion. And I have to say, it's about time. It took 2 years for him to win that belt back. But I feel like this time, if there's ever a time where he deserved to win that belt, it's now. The guy really put up arguably the best match of his career against Jon Moxley, who's arguably considered one of the best AEW World Champions of all time. Hangman Page did a fantastic job. Fantastic job. So did Jon Moxley, but yeah, it was time to see a new champion, and I'm happy with Hangman being the champion. Hopefully, he gets a proper reign, because we know when he was champion, he lost it. He didn't have a long reign with it. He lost this to then CM Punk, who was with the company at the time. But hopefully, Hangman Page has a better run with the belt this time around. And hopefully he has it for 6 months to a year. I would say 6 months because I think a year is probably pushing it, but hopefully he has it for a long time. So what do you guys thought of AEW All In? Did you guys like it? Did you guys enjoy it? Me personally, I liked it. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. There's a couple of matches that, well, honestly, the matches were not bad. All the matches that were involved were good. But the matches that were involved, I think, led up to something, so I don't mind them. So yeah, All In I give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, good event. All right, moving on to the next event, Saturday Night Live. There was only 4 matches. I didn't see the Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre, but let's get to the ending. We know that Randy won. He beat Drew McIntyre. Logan Paul comes out and attacks Randy Orton. Jelly Roll helps him out, and then Jelly Roll gets the Claymore by Drew McIntyre, and this leads up to the match that they're going to have at SummerSlam. Randy Orton teams up with Jelly Roll versus Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. So, interesting scenario. But, yeah. And this event was live from Atlanta, by the way. So, yeah. That's going to be an interesting tag team match for SummerSlam. All right, let's move on to the next match. Well, I kind of saw this match because, when I came from work, I was watching this match. Solo Sikoa versus Jimmy Uso for the United States title. For a moment, I was shocked because I thought they were actually going to give it to Jimmy Uso. I thought they were going to give it to him, but, obviously Solo just won the belt. He's not going to drop the belt to his bigger brother right away. So, Solo does retain the belt, obviously. We saw that coming, but we know that his new faction, they're not called the Bloodline, which is good. They call something else. I forgot what they're called. But Tongaloa, JC Mateo, and Tala Longa, the tall guy, Tala Longa, I think that's his name. Well, they attack Jimmy Uso, and then Jacob Fatu comes out, and we have that going on. And, there was a face-off with the tall guy, Tola Longa. And, yeah. So, Solo Sikoa continues his reign as United States champion. I was kind of hoping Jimmy would win it, but I knew Jimmy was not going to win it. And, yeah. So, that match, it was okay. I mean, like, the thing is about these matches, they were very predictable. But, yeah. Solo Sikoa continues his run as United States champion, and hopefully down the line, Jimmy finally gets that run with that belt. Moving on to the next match. LA Knight, versus Seth Rollins. So this match, unfortunately, the ending was not what we expected it. It was picking up to be a good match. We know that Seth did like a moonsault, landed in his knee, and his knee buckled. That was not a good sign. And I know for a fact that Seth was probably going to go over. He was probably going to win. LA Knight, Seth said, the ref told me, can you continue? Seth said, yeah, I could. LA Knight picks up the win, and yeah. According to what I heard, Seth might be gone for 4 or 5 months. I don't know how accurate that is. They did some MRIs with the doctors of WWE in Alabama. So hopefully Seth is not out for too long, and hopefully it doesn't require surgery. But if it does, hopefully it's not something that will keep him out for too long. It kind of sucks because, the momentum was being on his side with the faction and, him being Mr. Money in the Bank. It's not the first time Seth injures his knee like that. Back in 2015, he injured it in a house show while he was picking up Roman. Man, he's been dealing with a lot of injuries over the last 10 years since that. But obviously he's been competing at the highest level. Yeah, I just hope Seth comes back sooner than later. LA Knight won. The thing is, they haven't made a decision as far as the Money in the Bank briefcase. Seth does have till June of next year to cash in. So, maybe he'll be back before that. But if the injury was very serious where he'll be out for more than 9 months, they would have done something like put the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line and, have somebody compete for it. But yeah, so hopefully Seth has a speedy recovery. Like I said, injury's been an issue in pro wrestling. They've been piling up from all promotions. Not too long it was Liv, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins joins that list, and of course, Adam Cole with the whole situation with the health issues. So yeah, like I said, this industry is very tough. These men and women, they dedicate themselves day in and day out for this craft. There's a reason why they say this. Don't try this at home, because there's that's the reason why. But yeah, hopefully Seth Rollins recovers sooner before June of next year, and he can still have the briefcase, and we'll see where he goes from there. We know that Roman is back from we haven't seen Roman since WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania. We know that he recently just had a child with his wife, and he's in the process of filming Street Fighter, which is the character he's going to play with Jason Momoa. They're saying Cody Rhodes is going to be a part of that, and some other good actors. So, yeah. So good to see the Tribal Chief back. I do see Roman versus Braun Breaker at SummerSlam. Or maybe Roman and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. We'll see. All right. Moving on to the main event. You know what? I was not really too invested in this match. For the World Heavyweight title, the champion Gunther versus Goldberg. Honestly, let's just get to it. Gunther won this match. Goldberg had his moments in this match. But Gunther won. Gunther took the spear, took the jackhammer. Gunther, I don't even know how long this match was. I'm sure it was longer than what we expected it. But yeah, Gunther retains the belt. No secret. For a moment, I'm like, if Goldberg wins, it's gonna blow my mind, and the whole wrestling community is gonna go nuts. But yeah, Gunther retains the belt, and he will now be facing CM Punk, who won the Gauntlet match on Raw at SummerSlam. So that's gonna be interesting. For a moment, I thought they were gonna give it to Braun Breaker, but it is what it is. They give it to Punk, so we'll see how that goes. Should be a good match. But as far as Goldberg, he's done. He retired. No more. I don't think that. No, just Goldberg should not wrestle anymore. He did have his speech, which got cut off, by the way. And I know he went to Ariel Helwani's show and talked about how that was insane. That was not, like, he was pissed off about that. He talked about it would have been The Undertaker. It would have been John Cena's farewell tour. They would have not done that to him. But honestly, Goldberg, you got your retirement match for the world title. You had that match in Atlanta, your hometown, in front of your family. So you got nothing to complain about. Your speech, sucks that you got cut off, but it is what it is. What do you guys thought of Saturday Night Main Event? Personally, I give it honestly, a 4 out of 10. This event was just like, whatever's to me. I saw it. I only saw 2.5 matches because I came from work watching the Jimmy Uso versus Solo Sikoa, and then the Randy versus Drew McIntyre. I didn't watch the match, but I saw the highlights, and the ending was all I needed to talk about. I'm pretty sure the match was solid, but you know what I mean. It led up to having a tag team match at SummerSlam. But yeah, that's Saturday Night Main Event. Let's talk about the event that I'm really excited for. WWE Evolution, the women's pay-per-view match. So these matches were good. Let's get to the triple threat match, which I did not see, by the way. Lyra Valkyria versus Bayley and versus Becky Lynch for the IC Women's Intercontinental Champion. Becky did retain. Am I shocked? No. But I'm not shocked that Becky retained. And yeah, she beats Lyra and Bayley. And now Lyra Valkyria beat Bayley at a 2 out of 3 falls count anywhere. Now Lyra's going to face Becky at SummerSlam. What do I think of that? I think it's just like, I feel like this rivalry storyline-ish is kind of like pushing it too much. Let's try to move on to another direction as far as this goes. If they put the belt on Lyra back, great. If not, if they keep it on Becky, great too. But let's give Becky a rivalry with Bayley again, or let's give her something different. Lyra, I mean, it's great to see her that she's in the title conversation, but also, after seeing the same thing over and over again, it's just like, let's go a different direction. And yeah. But yeah, Becky retains the belt at WWE Evolution. And we'll see where it goes from there. Moving on to the next match. This was for the NXT Women's Champion. The champion, JC Jane, versus the challenger, the juggernaut, Jordynne Grace. We know that she had Fallon Haley and the other girl, I forget her name. And Jordynne Grace had Blake Monroe on her corner. For those that don't know who Blake Monroe is, she was Mariah May in AEW. So this match, honestly, a lot of people were saying that Jordynne Grace was going to win, but I had a feeling something was going to happen, that JC Jane was going to retain. And that feeling and that stuff and that betrayed was Blake Monroe. Blake Monroe, she attacks Fallon Haley and the other girl. I forget her name, and I feel guilty for forgetting her name. But, she attacks those two girls from on the sideline, and she grabs the belt. As soon as she grabs the belt, she hits Jordynne Grace on purpose. JC Jane capitalizes, does the 1, 2, 3, and wins and retains the belt. Blake Monroe gives the belt to JC Jane, and Blake Monroe, honestly, I thought they were going to take a while with making her a heel. But Shawn Michaels, NXT creative team, thank you. Thank you for making her a heel. Because honestly, Blake Monroe is better off being a heel than a face. And if you saw her in AEW as Mariah May, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this is great because now she has a possible good match with Jordynne Grace and a feud with her. It's going to be great. We know that these two girls beat Fallon Haley and JC Jane at NXT Great American Bash. So it was only right that JC Jane retained the belt with a little help of Blake Monroe, of course. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. I'm glad they turned her into a heel. Blake Monroe needs to stay as a heel. All right, moving on to the next match. Which match was first? I think it was. Oh, no, let's talk about this match. I cannot forget this match. For the Women's Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way match, we had Raquel Rodriguez, La Ruda, Roxanne Perez, the champions representing Judgment Day, versus Alexa Bliss, teaming up with Charlotte Flair, the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane, Asuka, versus NXT North American champions, Soruka and Zarya. Man, this match was just amazing. All 8 of these girls put up a good match. Yeah, this match was just great. Who was MVP in this match? Soruka. Why? She did SmackDown. She did NXT Great American Bash. She did WWE Evolution. This girl had no rest for the weary, and she put up a good performance in this match. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss working together, that was great. Honestly, I had little expectations of that, but good. The Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, we know the former tag team champions. We knew they were going to bring it. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, despite the fact that Liv is injured, Raquel Rodriguez is adjusting very fast to Roxanne Perez, and so is Roxanne. So I'm shocked with how great Roxanne Perez is to adjusting to the main roster already. They obviously retain the belt, but honestly, all of these girls deserve a round of applause because, with WWE Evolution, it was so hard to book a lot of these women. And, it was the whole pay-per-view was for the women. And these girls, they all killed it. They all killed it. And I can go on and talk about Soruka because, man, she is amazingly talented. The fact that she did 3 shows on 3 days. Yeah, 3 shows on 3 days. On a span of 3 days. Insane. absolutely insane. Definitely MVP of the week when it came to how busy pro wrestling was this last week. And yeah, but yeah, it's great to see Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez retain the belt because I feel like that gives more power to the Judgment Day as a group. So yeah, I mean, overall, good match. Good match. Let's talk about the next match. Which one was first? I'm trying to debate which one was first. I think it was, let's talk about this was for the WWE Women's Championship match. Because this match didn't really last long. Tiffany Stratton, the women's champion, versus WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus, trying to look for her 8th championship in the record books. This match, there's not really much to talk about. Trish did put a good match, though. She did put a good match against Tiffany, who's arguably Tiffany's one of the best female wrestlers right now. But yeah, the match, Trish, very impressive. I want to say that this should be Trish's last match. I don't think Trish should wrestle anymore. I mean, because if they're just going to give her matches for a championship match they're just going to book her just for her to lose, it's kind of like, And the thing is, Trish, I don't think she doesn't have like the availability of doing full time anymore. She's a mother of 2 kids. She's very busy outside of pro wrestling. So I don't see her like doing a full-time gig with WWE. So personally, I just like, if this was her last match, then it should, unless she gets involved in a battle royal or the Royal Rumble for next year. But honestly, Trish doesn't need to have these kind of matches anymore. Tiffany Stratton, good match for her. Yeah, Tiffany, like I said, solid match. Trish, great. She put a good match, but we know Tiffany was going to retain the belt, and things get very interesting later in this event. Oh, they get very interesting. All right, let's move on to the next match. The next match was a no holds bar match. The rivalry between Jade Cargill versus Naomi, though the Money in the Bank winner, with Bianca Belair being the guest referee. This rivalry, this was the last match that I think this is going to be the last match they had. But I just don't understand why they didn't give it to Naomi. If this was going to be the last match, because, I mean, Jade Cargill already beat Naomi at WrestleMania 41. Why not give this win to Naomi? Just saying, you know what I mean? I feel like they could have gone that route, just saying, but they didn't. So yeah, this was a no disqualification match. There was tables involved, and obviously Bianca Belair being the guest referee. Jade Cargill puts Naomi over a table and wins the match. Naomi, we're gonna talk about Naomi in a bit. Don't worry. But yeah, Jade Cargill, she wins the match. And Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton will face each other at SummerSlam. So that's going to be an interesting match. Because now things have shifted after this event. And we'll get to that in a bit. But let's talk about the Women's Evolution Battle Royal. And before I talk about that, let me say who was involved in this match. Stephanie Vacour, Lash Legend, Tatum Paxley, Easy Dom, Ivy Nivell, Natalia, Max Dupree, Candice LeRae, Jada Parker, Kalani Jordan, Julia, B-Fab, Mishan, Selena Vega, Alba Fire, Lola Vice, Piper Niven, Chelsea Green, Nikki Bella, Nia Jax. Yeah, all those women were involved in this battle royal. Well, I mean, I gotta say I predicted who was gonna win, and I also had like a plan B or maybe even a plan C of who was probably gonna win. But your winner was Stephanie Vaquer. It's not now. She's gonna get a shot at Clash of the Castle in Paris. We don't know if the thing is, we don't know who she's gonna face. So Stephanie Vaquer wins this battle royal. Battle royal was great. I mean, there's a lot of great spots. A lot of the NXT girls killed it. Raw and SmackDown girls killed it too. Yeah, I mean the last three were Nia Jax, Lash Legend, and Stephanie McCool. I thought Lash Legend was gonna probably win too, because she was another like a pick of mine that I was like, she might win. She might win, because it would be good to see someone from NXT represent. But no, Stephanie McCool, it had written all over it. Stephanie McCool was gonna win this match. I had a feeling that she was gonna win this match, and she didn't. Stephanie McCool didn't leave NXT to the main roster to not compete for a world title or the WWE Women's Championship. So it was only right that Stephanie will win this match. But yeah, Stephanie McCool wins the Battle Royal. She does get an opportunity at Clash of the Castle. I think it's Clash of the Castle. Let me see. Oh yeah, Clash in Paris. I apologize. Clash in Paris. She gets an opportunity at Clash in Paris. Who is it going to be? I don't know. I'm guessing it's going to be for the world title, the women's world title. So yeah. Now let's get to the main event. Arguably one of the best main events that I've seen in a while for women's. The champion, Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. We know that Rhea Ripley, in a way, has beaten Io Sky has beaten Rhea Ripley consistently. Rhea Ripley has not beaten Io Sky. So this match had all the bragging rights as far as if Rhea wins, she wins the world title back, and she finally beats Io. If Io wins, could we be saying that Io has her number? So we don't know. There was a lot of things going on, but this match was just fantastic. It was great. I would have to go on the record and say this was probably the best match these two girls had against each other. And it did not disappoint. It was so good. It was almost 30 minutes, and it deserved to be almost 30 minutes, or maybe even longer. They had the match inside the ring, outside the ring. The spots were great. And as soon as you thought Rhea would win, no, Io kicks out. As soon as you thought Io was going to win, no, Rhea kicks out. But then something very interesting happened. The last time we saw something very interesting like this happen, it was WrestleMania 31 with Seth Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase and beat Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, with Roman took the pin. Something similar like that happened here. Naomi's music hits, and I'm just shocked. I'm shocked because I didn't think Naomi was gonna go for the women's world title. I thought Naomi was gonna go after Tiffany Stratton's championship match. I didn't think she was gonna go after Io Sky. And I did say, and I want to say as Triple H creative team, thank you so much for proving me wrong. I like to be wrong. Believe it or not, here at TWT Talks with Tito's, I like to be wrong. When I'm wrong, it's better for me. Well, obviously I like to be right too, but I did kind of predict that I do see Naomi cashing in at SummerSlam against Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. But boy, did they shift that direction somewhere else. And that's the thing that I like about Triple H and this creative team. Like, they kind of let us know, you think you have the answers, but we actually have something better for you. And that's exactly what they did. Naomi cashes in her Money in the Bank briefcase. This match becomes a triple threat match. She hits Rhea. I think it was Rhea. Was it Rhea? No, wait. She hits I think she hits Io with the briefcase. And then after that, she throws Rhea to the sideline where she, by the ropes. And she does her finishing move to Io Sky, and and she wins the women's world title. And Naomi cashes it in, and she becomes the new women's world championship match. She becomes the new women's world's champion. And I have to say, it's congratulations to Naomi. And why? Because Naomi deserves this. She's been one of those girls for the long time that she always did what she was supposed to do. She always followed the rules. She always was the girl that did what the company wanted her to do. And you look at the press conference, she talked about it. She got emotional about it. How, she was always told that, you got to do this, you got to do that. And Naomi, at this point, she's like, you know what? I'm just going to do what's best for me. She had to leave the company. She had to go to TNA. She had to go to test the waters elsewhere to get that validation again, which she did. And I'll say it before and I'll say it again. Naomi turning heel was arguably the best thing that happened for her career. Why I say that? Well, there you have it. She's now the women's world's champion. She won Money in the Bank. It was icing on the cake. Naomi deserves this moment because for a long time, Naomi was always known as a talented wrestler with a lot of potential, but they never saw her as a world's champion. They never saw her as someone that would get that moment. And damn, that she deserves to get that moment. She deserves it. And it's about damn time she got that moment. Because I feel like, yeah, she had to do it. She had to elevate herself to bigger heights. She had to change the character mode. She went from being the glow to being cautious. Like, I like the fact that she's cautious now. You know, the whole cautious thing going on. Great stuff. And it's about time that she gets her moment. I do feel bad for Io. And I do feel bad for Io, but I feel more bad for Io because Io didn't get a lot of justice being the women's world champion. I'm happy that she got her moment at WrestleMania, being the first Japanese women to, retain the belt and win at WrestleMania. We saw how emotional her parents got and Kairi Sane. So I'm happy that she got her moment, but I feel like, and I'm going to go on the record and say this, I feel like Io Sky deserved to have that belt longer. Just saying. 132 days, it's good, but it's not good enough for someone as talented as Io Sky. And I had a feeling that she was probably going to drop the belt back to Rhea. But then, you leave that spark where is this going to go? But now we're going to have Naomi versus Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky at SummerSlam for the women's world title. SummerSlam is 2 days this year. It's the first time in the history that SummerSlam does 2 days. So, it's going to be an interesting summer because SummerSlam is going to be really good. And they're stacking it up right away. But yeah, Naomi wins the belt. Congrats to her. She deserves it. It's a great ending for WWE Women's Evolution. Big E said it best. It's a crime that they took 7 years to do another WWE Evolution. The last one was in 2018. It's a crime that they took this long. And it's only fair for all the women's back in the day till the women's now present that this is an event that they should do every year. This is an event that they have to do every year. And I think they will now. But it's just a crime that it took 7 years to do another Evolution event. And yeah. But yeah, overall, what do I think about WWE Evolution? Man, I give it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I think I give it a 9 out of 10. I probably 8 out of 10, but yeah, it was really good. What's your take on all the events all 4 of the events that you guys saw? Did you guys see all 4 of them? I saw 3.5, 2.5 of them because, there's some matches that I miss of some of these events. But yeah, overall, great event. WWE Evolution, I think, was probably my favorite. Then All In was my second favorite. Yeah, but overall, it was good. Let's not forget next week. This week, Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier, UFC 318 for the BMF belt. Dustin's last dance, Max for the BMF belt. Yeah, like I said, BMF belt. It's going to be a great match. Chapter 3. I'll talk about that next week, though. But this week, I'm just going to talk about the events. What do you guys thought of it? Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys like it? Subscribe to YouTube. If you guys haven't subscribed to Spotify. Follow us on Instagram. But yeah, with that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode. This is TWT Talks with Tito. This is Tito Madrano. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys take care.